Hello, Monair. So nice to see you once again. Congratulations. That's amazing that
Thank
you
you so
transitioned.
much.
Of
I'm
course.
so excited.
Maybe we
Thank
can
you.
start with maybe a short introduction of yourself as well as the company that you transition into, please.
Oh, wonderful. So my name is Dr. Monair McGregor. You will find me on LinkedIn. I will be happy to connect with you. And the company that I'm in is a small company out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, called SiteBridge Research. And a little bit about the company, perhaps.
Yes.
So this is a clinical research company, and my very small sliver of the pie is to work on community engagement. I am the lead program manager for clinical engage for community engagement. I'm sorry, excuse me.
That's okay.
And this is my very first industry position.
That's amazing. Monair, so you're successful now, but I just want to rewind to the time when, before you got hired, right? Or even before you joined us here at Cheeky. I just want to talk about the challenges that you might have faced at that point. So, in terms of technical challenges, we're talking about your resume, your LinkedIn profile, as well as the mindset challenges, imposter syndrome, and how we may have felt after rejection or multiple rejections for that matter. What challenges did you have?
Sure, that's such a good question. And I honed in on one thing that you said, and it's the mindset. Of all of the things you've just listed, it's the mindset. Being an African American woman, being older than the young cherubs coming out of graduate school at this time, yes, I believe that I had aged out of these great opportunities, and where I was where I was going to be.
Yeah.
But one thing that I saw often on LinkedIn was Isaiah's memes. And the memes talked about you can live the life that you want. You can be confident as a PhD. You have knowledge and skills that others don't want and that companies desire. And you see that message from Isaiah going out on multiple memes all the time, and you start to believe it. And I was a skeptic that became a believer over time. And that is the truth. So that mindset has to change. And then there's the cultural piece of being an African American woman going into this world. Yes, there was that imposter syndrome, but you continue to work on the different techniques. You look at the tools that the Cheekies put forward, and I really did change my mind and really work the process. And here we are.
That's amazing. Monair, I just want to go back to what you had just said just then. You talked about
Sure.
the process, right? So you had these challenges and then you joined us at Cheeky Scientists. What were
Mhm.
the processes? What were the immediate benefits or maybe the aha moments that you would have had, maybe just going through the
Yes.
modules or maybe the private group?
Yes. All of that.
Yeah.
So when I came on, like I said, I was a skeptic, and I won't say that again, but I was a skeptic, and I was like, I don't know. I joined this organization. It looks interesting, but I'm not sure. And a lot of the things that I saw immediately had to do with uh, um, medical writing or things that were a clinician would do. And I am not a clinician, but what I did try to do was fit a circle into a square. I tried to apply to those positions. I read the modules, and I was not finding success. When I started finding success was when I changed my resume and added the white space
Mm.
that Isaiah talks about so much. So I added the white space. I took my resume off of the computer altogether because, like Isaiah says, if a recruiter can find your resume online by himself, what do you have to share when you have an interview? So I took it down. It was no longer on my LinkedIn. It's no longer anywhere searchable. on the computer. I took my resume and my CV down. I reduced my resume to 2 pages. And because Cheeky gives you so many wonderful suggestions, the one that worked well for me was on Saturday and Sunday evenings. I decided to dedicate that time to building LinkedIn relationships, not asking for a job. Like, can you give me a job? I like your company. No, building a relationship. Hey, I read this in the scientific news, and I love that your company is aligned with those values. And those are the types of introductory messages I would send out. Isaiah said to keep them small. He even has an introductory passage that you can use. I started with the passage that Isaiah has in one of the modules, and then I adapted it to my character and my personality. And those are the conversations that started 5 companies every weekend. That was my goal. Sometimes I did more, sometimes I did less. Companies that align with my personal values. And this is the hardest thing. And let me tell you, this is the hardest part. Isaiah said, you don't have to focus on the behemoth companies, you know, the Pfizers, the GSKs. Look for small to medium companies. And I was like, get out of town. I don't believe that. But let me tell you how true that is. I wrote one of my Sunday weekend messages to a company that was a small company. They got right back to me, and they're agile, they're nimble. When I got to my company, they got me through that HR process so quickly because they're small. Their HR is right there in-house. It's right next door to the guy I was emailing. And believe me, the small to medium-sized companies have money. They want PhDs. They are looking for you to look for them. But a lot of us PhDs, we don't believe that. Let me roll that back. I did not believe that as a PhD. I did not believe that. I said, I've got to go to the big companies, Biogen, Lenovo, Cisco, big companies. They want me more. Nah, maybe some of you will have success with that. Look for the small and medium companies, because all of us are looking big. A lot of us are not looking small. Small companies have money. They want your talent.
Absolutely. Spot on, Monair. That's fantastic. I was also wondering about the private group that we have with Cheeky Scientists, right? It's a private community of it offers support and a very conducive atmosphere to vent sometimes, or have resume reviews, LinkedIn reviews. How did the private community help you? What do you think were the benefits for you? How responsive were they?
Sure. Oh, the private group was very responsive. Any questions that were asked, and I would comment on other folks as well. Wonderful people, very responsive, very sincere, very genuine. And when you are on Facebook, there's a lot of trash conversation. Folks are not interested in what we are interested in, which is PhDs talking to each other and getting a job that enhances the quality of life for yourself and for your family. But these groups are unique in that they talk to you on topics that interest you and that you are immediately in need of hearing answers, and I think that is absolutely the benefit to those groups.
That's fantastic. Monair, one last question for you. It's something that I like to ask PhDs all the time. What reservations did you have prior to joining? You were talking about skepticism before. And how were those reservations elevated? Let's talk about it. Let's air it all.
Sure. Well, and I laugh when I think back to it now. So I am a woman of a certain age. Maybe you can tell through the video or not. I am over 50 years old. I'm trying to hide my little gray sprigs here.
My jaw was on the floor when you told me that, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm over 50. I have a family. And it's a little bit of an investment to become a member. But I was such a believer in everything that I was reading pre-membership that I said, I'm going to go ahead and take this leap.
Yeah.
And when I took the leap, I did not see a lot of non-clinical people, a lot of non-hard science people like myself. There were a couple pockets. I scrolled through the membership and sent little hello messages to folks.
Yeah.
But I didn't see a lot of folks like me, as I work in public health and I'm not a clinician, but I am a PhD. So I said, well, being a member is not to find people that mirror my expertise and my experiences. I can read the modules, take the trainings, and see how I can merge and apply what I am learning to my experience. And that's what I did. And what was very important that I did was not try to look like the membership, meaning not try to apply, which I did a couple times, apply to medical science liaison and medical writing roles. And I did get a couple interviews, but like Isaiah said, an interview is a dime a dozen. Everyone can get an interview. It's to get the offer.
Yeah.
So I said, during those interviews with medical writing and medical science liaison, number one, I was shocked that I got a call back at an interview. And number two, I think they could understand that I had very surface understanding of it. That was not who I was. I was not a medical writer, even though I did get the call back. So I decided to apply Cheeky to me, my authentic self.
Yeah.
That made all the difference. I am a public health person with great skills and expertise. I am not clinical.
Yeah.
The role that I am in now wanted exactly this person. I am so glad I stayed authentic. I am so glad I followed the suggestions on Cheeky that worked for me and my experience.
Yeah.
And again, being over 50, I want those of you who are members to know that there is opportunity for you. Lean into it.
Absolutely.
Work the tools, work the process.
Mm-hmm.
It will work for you. Be a believer.
Yeah. Yeah. And no one's above the process. You just need to follow the formula and then you get the results. It's just really as
That's
simple.
right. Very true. Very true.
Oh my gosh, Monair, it's always fantastic to speak to you. Thank you so much for offering all
Absolutely.
your amazing insights. Truly, congratulations once again. All
Thank
the very
you.
best. And
Thank you.
we're not just going to say toodaloo here. You know, we're always going to be with you. We're always there, even if you have transition. Cheekies, if you're seeing this before your transition, or even those of you who have not yet joined Cheeky Scientists, remember your value as a PhD. Thank you so much once again, Monair. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.